Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tracing a truly fascinating and honestly kind of alarming journey. We're going to look at how microscopic damage happening right now at the cellular level inside your kidneys translates into a massive macro-level global health crisis. Okay, let's dive into this because understanding the silent mechanics of how our kidneys fail is literally the first step in protecting them. Here's our roadmap for today. First, understanding chronic kidney disease. Then, the cascade of kidney failure, vascular threats, CKD trends in Southeast Asia, and finally, the rise of diabetes. Let's get right to it. Section 1. Understanding chronic kidney disease. Defining the baseline. To really grasp the timeline of this threat, we've got to contrast the two main ways our kidneys take damage. On one hand, you've got acute kidney injury, or AKI. This is a sudden, sharp drop in kidney function that happens super fast, typically within just 7 days. But chronic kidney disease, or CKD, that's a totally different beast. CKD is a gradual, structural, and functional decline that hangs around for 3 months or more. The key words here are gradual and, sadly, irreversible. And if that gradual decline isn't stopped, it leads right here. End-stage renal disease, or ESRD. This is the absolute final stage, a complete loss of kidney function. The body just can't filter waste on its own anymore, leaving dialysis or transplant as the absolute only survival options. This brilliantly illustrates why stopping this disease in its early tracks is, quite literally, a matter of life and death. Moving into Section 2, the cascade of kidney failure, a microscopic domino effect. It's basically a tragic domino effect. Step 1, an initial injury knocks out some of your functional nephrons. Those are the tiny filtering units inside the kidney. Then, in Step 2, the surviving nephrons try to pick up the slack by working overtime. It's a process called adaptive hyperfiltration. Think of it like asking half a factory's workforce to cover double the shifts. Eventually, they're going to burn out, right? This extra pressure damages those remaining units, leading straight to Step 3, chronic inflammation. The injured tissue sends out an SOS, attracting immune cells that create a hostile inflammatory environment. And that triggers the final domino, Step 4, renal fibrosis. To really get the gravity of that final step, listen to how the medical literature describes it. Renal fibrosis is called the final common pathway. It's characterized by an excessive buildup of scar tissue that permanently replaces normal, functioning kidney tissue. Once fibrosis sets in extensively, it's game over for the kidney architecture. There's just no going back. But here's the thing. This microscopic scarring doesn't just stay contained in the kidneys. It wreaks absolute havoc on your entire system. When the kidneys fail, toxins just build up in the blood. That's uremia. Your electrolytes get totally out of whack. Plus, because the kidneys stop making a vital hormone called erythropoietin, you develop severe anemia. And since failing kidneys can't activate vitamin D anymore, patients suffer from secondary bone disorders. So this microscopic damage literally ruins both blood quality and bone strength across your whole body. Section 3, vascular threats to kidneys, the pressure problem. Now, what's really interesting here is the stark contrast between these two distinct pressure problems. On one side, we have hypertensive arteriolar nephrosclerosis. This is caused by chronic, poorly controlled high blood pressure, just relentlessly hammering against the tiny microscopic blood vessels in the kidney, wearing them down over years. On the other side, renal artery stenosis. That's a blockage, usually from plaque, in the massive main arteries leading to the kidney, basically choking off the blood supply. So one is chronic high pressure in the small pipes, and the other is a blockage in the main pipe. But both starve and destroy the kidney tissue all the same. Beyond just blood pressure, our kidneys face an onslaught from a bunch of other fronts. Metabolically, diabetic kidney disease kicks in when chronic high blood sugar damages those delicate capillaries. Immunologically, glomerulonephritis directly inflames the kidney's filters. We even see serious damage from everyday habits, like popping heavy amounts of over-the-counter painkillers, your NSAIDs and acetaminophen, alongside genetic inevitabilities like polycystic kidney disease. Section 4, CKD trends in Southeast Asia, taking a macro perspective. To zoom out, we're going to look at a massive, sweeping meta-analysis that came out recently. This study pulled together data from 81 individual studies, capturing the real-world medical situations of nearly 33,000 subjects across 11 Southeast Asian nations. It gives us a really unprecedented look at what's actually causing advanced kidney disease across massive, diverse populations. So the crucial point here is the pattern that emerges from the breakdown. Diabetic kidney disease takes the top spot at 29.2%. followed closely by glomerulonephritis, that inflammatory condition we talked about, at 20%, and hypertensive damage right behind it at 16.8%. Basically, metabolic issues and inflammation are driving the vast majority of kidney failure cases in this immense population. But things get really fascinating when researchers stratified this data by economic status. In high-income and upper-middle-income nations, diabetic kidney disease was overwhelmingly the primary cause of kidney failure. But flip to the lower-middle-income countries, and glomerulonephritis takes the lead at 33.8%. This reveals a super stark economic divide. Higher income strongly correlates with metabolic diseases like diabetes, while lower middle-income status currently ties more to infectious or inflammatory kidney damage. Which brings us to Section 5, the rise of diabetes, a modern epidemic. When researchers looked at the timeline of this data, they found a seriously alarming shift. Prior to the year 2000, diabetic kidney disease accounted for just about 9.2% of advanced CKD cases. But after the year 2000, that number absolutely exploded to 30.1%. Diabetes has clearly become the undisputed heavy hitter of modern kidney failure. Let's move in closer and see how this builds when we look at specific countries. The nations bearing the absolute brunt of this diabetic kidney crisis are Malaysia at 40.3%, Singapore at 39.2%, and Brunei at 37.9%. These are highly developed nations where almost 4 out of every 10 cases of severe kidney failure are a direct result of diabetes. It's staggering. So, why is this happening? Well, the researchers explicitly connect this data to shifting societal habits. This huge surge in type 2 diabetes perfectly mirrors rapid urbanization and the widespread adoption of Western lifestyles. We're talking about way more heavily processed foods, a sharp drop in daily physical activity, and skyrocketing rates of metabolic syndrome. These macro-level lifestyle shifts are exactly what elevate blood sugar. And as we learned earlier, that high blood sugar damages the microcapillaries, kills off nephrons, and kicks off that totally irreversible cascade of cellular fibrosis. We've traveled all the way from the microscopic scarring of a single tiny nephron to the dietary shifts of millions of people across Southeast Asia. With urbanization and modern lifestyles fundamentally changing what destroys our kidneys, I want to leave you with this thought. Knowing exactly how this silent domino effect works, are your own daily habits silently triggering the cascade? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.